off their Frostmancy victory. They're the ones with the most Frost Fangs, and they were the ones that were able to win the fastest. But I do want to point out that a lot of this was about reading the meta in this 1 week meta more effectively than the other team. So we do need to celebrate KING-ZONE's win, whilst also saying that it did look a little fishy.
And I hope no one made hard comments after match 1. Because match 1, Frostmancy lost, and some people are like, phew. Why do they even bother to nerf it? And then we get an exhibit here where you see that min-maxed the most. And there was a lot of min-maxing going on. There was 4 sight stones on the side of KING-ZONE DragonX. We get new information, like, for example, doesn't a poke comp seem good if hard engage can never get to you because you always see them coming everywhere?
Yeah.
The answer is yes. It's one of the reasons why poke comps, we don't even really talk about them anymore because you never really see full poke. You don't often see top lane with no CC, really, no Karma. And it was all about the poke and turret damage because with limited vision, Cannon finds a spot to flash ult you from. But with complete vision, a 50-50 Baron was actually an 80-20 Baron rather than anything else, even without a lot of effort put into interrupting it. The Siege, the Ezreal, had no threat on him and a million shields. How do you read that first game and with a 15-minute turnaround, find a strategy against it? Let's give one last shout out as we start to come back for our VOD viewers into game number 2. Isn't the Orin ban a smart one in hindsight for game number 1? Because a bit more hard initiation is what they tried with the Gragas, not quite Orin when it comes to non-committal long-range engage to stop Ezreal from just winning the game.
Yep, not to mention the Alistar ban coming in there as well, and yes, doesn't necessarily have the range, but you can certainly just say, I'm blowing the cowbell, we're going straight in there, and get those flash headbutt pulves happening, and Marta is certainly the man that can do that. So we'll see whether they put more priority on that particular pickup as KING-ZONE get rid of the Tahm Kench to start things off. Of course, was one of their pickups in game number 1, but they're not going to see it. And Lee Sin finally respect banned from Clid.
But do we ban the chief abuser of the top lane? Again, on Reddit, it was the Kennen Frostmancy, but in Korea, the first champion was introduced a few days earlier. It was the Karma top, who is so fast and so hard to kill. One of those champions you just don't bother ganking as a jungler because she's so annoying. And finally, the answer is yes now. Lulu top can still be a thing. Zillion top can still be a thing. You cannot ban out all the Frostmancy champions, but Karma is the most reliable abuser with an oppressive lane phase, even more so than Lulu after all the incremental nerfs to Lulu last time we had solo lane Lulu as a thing. So see if we see any further bans. Is actually kind of interesting to see the Victor taken away by KING-ZONE.
Yeah, of course, certainly a comfort pick for Khan, can be flexed everywhere as well. I don't like it on Teddy. As we've seen in the past, we want him on an 80 carry if we can get one. And I think that we need to step away from the Kai'Sa. If you're an SKT fan, I think we want to see a crit 80 carry. We want to see someone that can really make their way back into this meta. And Ezreal priority is certainly high up there. SKT, it would be a smart ban here, but they respect the Sylas. And we'll take that one away from KING-ZONE to potentially first pick it. And Cassiopeia, left available and locked in immediately. Might be the first time that we have the ability to see Deft's Cassiopeia.
But we have also started to adjust our expectations of Cassio down as the champion hasn't always performed around the world. Especially in the LEC, it's been struggling. We'll see where it is going. Like you mentioned, Deft still has games in solo queue on the Cassiopeia.
And his Cassio win rate is just disgusting in solo queue as well.
It got skipped over. Seen this skipped over kind of increasingly, right? Game number 1, I believe, was not picked or banned, which was very surprising. So
I think almost for one of the first times ever in the LCK.
Yeah.
I think that Urgot has either been banned or picked in every single other game, as Thresh is another champion that has had a lot of first round of ban status.
But do notice we see an adjustment here. This is not a utility first pick, it's a mid-range mage in Cassiopeia.
Yeah.
Could be a top laner, let's remember, who could go Frostmancy.
You could certainly Frostmancy Snake.
Well, let's hold our judgment on that one.
This is the wombo combo though. Alistar Cassio has
if it is a dual lane,
powerful bottom lane.
We saw it lose, but the best case scenario is headbutt pulverize into Miasma, where you CC for a very long time and you take a lot of guaranteed damage. There is Q nerfs and Miasma nerfs, so the first max and the final match have been nerfed. A lot of hovers here. Pawn played a game.
He did, but it was
not good. It was forgettable.
Yeah, please, no. It's please God, don't ever bring it back up again as LeBlanc locked in. All right. Pawn just blind picking it. I mean, theoretically, because FLICKR certainly has been the one to play the Urgot, but it was first ban last time.
Blue side ban by SKT, available, and one of the few champions who's blind pickable, however, could still be Rascal on the Cassiopeia top, so we don't know for certain that we know the bot lane of KING-ZONE. Confirmation later. SKT, what do they make? They see that Ezreal is open. They will be locking in Ezreal, so maybe SKT will be the team with extra wards in this particular game. Remember, even after the hotfix comes in next Wednesday, duo lane Ezreal taking at some point the Frostfang or starting off with the Spell Thieves is a possibility because it's about having a duo around and, well, it's a duo lane champion. So that's something that might stick around and linger and need a different approach by the Riot Balance team. Maybe it's fine, maybe it's not, hard to say. Interesting ban here. A Camille ban to remove a guaranteed engager. I wonder whether it's banned at Rascal or Cuzz, given that Camille jungle definitely feels rough, but is possible on patch 9.3.
Yeah, of course. You're just not as healthy throughout that jungle, but it does feel like Camille's almost been bashed completely out of relevancy. It has certainly been how people have reacted to the patch so far, however, still early days. Of course, Aatrox, speaking of nerfs, is going to be banned. Cuzz certainly showed that it was a powerful pickup in the jungle especially. Nocturne, the response here from KING-ZONE. We'll see what the final ban is here from KING-ZONE.
Kind of getting into the dregs of the jungle pool, if you think about it. The Lee Sin ban, much easier for KING-ZONE to ban on blue side, of course.
Yeah, Olaf's stock up extraordinarily high at this point.
Almost seems like an auto lock, right, for Teddy.
Yeah.
You'd have to imagine to pick it up for Clid. We'll see if they agree, but Olaf looking very, very powerful. Do wonder if we'll see some jungle Jarvans considered. I think it's pretty decent on this patch.
Yeah, I think it's not too bad. Jax is available as well,
That's true,
though.
and Xin Zhao. So
yeah, okay, so a few things.
We've moved away from a lot of those, at least in our first series of the week, but they do have power options. This would be...
Still a flex?
Yep, be a flex Jarvan on the side of SKT, so sometimes you speak and things come true.
Yeah, nice work, Bob Smithy.
Cuzz's Jax available and would be a nice pickup here, I think, on the side of KING-ZONE. Does a lot of everything, so I think it's the right move to go here.
Also, just a very standard pick for Cuzz, and pick Comfort if you have to pick Blind. And that's certainly what they have to do. Of course, the inkling is that that's a Jarvan jungle, but Jax is more than happy to go into that matchup.
We know it's not an AP Jarvan support, so
yes,
I'm happy.
Thank God.
Not a huge fan of that. Damn you, Spirit.
Yeah, I know.
Making people think it was good. Vladimir left open really late in the draft.
Goodness. And if you think about this, that will mean that Deft will be on the Cassiopeia bot side of the map, but think about the pile-in damage that this comp has available. Plus, they do have physical damage coming from the Jax.
And they've got 3 people who could have been building some Frostfangs, but this would be a change.
All right, okay.
Deft wants to go back to the Kai'Sa. You were calling for Kai'Sa to be dropped after they lost in game number 1.
If they were going to go on 80 carry, they still had options for Deft. The Sivir that you mentioned, very high priority, could have been picked up, but maybe didn't want to be played into this lane from SKT.
And it does end up being the Cassio top after all. It's why I was holding judgment. Baker going to be jumping on the Lissandra most likely. Could again be a change there, though. There's so many mages, Atlas, and every time you see someone who could build just that little bit of AP, you wonder if the wards will be littering the map once more.
Well, certainly on the side of KING-ZONE, they do have a few options here, and even Deft, I mean, he can build some AP if he wants to. If he feels like going into a Frostfang, he can, but won't have the Klepto available to him. Here on the Kai'Sa, we certainly learnt that KING-ZONE don't need Klepto in order to pick that one up. In fact, they only had one, and it was on the Ezreal, who builds it anyway. So likely that we'll still see a whole bunch of those Spell Thieves.
TPs, heals, potential gold generations. The 1 week meta. If you're joining us for game number 2, KING-ZONE DragonX, surprisingly to many, taking the win in game number 1, but feeling really ahead of the curve. They had read the meta very, very well. Vote was put out there and did not pass, so we do not have the hotfix in Korea this week. There was 1.5 weeks worth of prep time, and it seems like some teams have been prepping the Frostmancy. What does it all mean for game number 2? Some previous OPs like the Cassiopeia conspicuously available. The Urgot, after sitting out, surprisingly, with no changes in game number 1, is back for game number 2, and Pawns LeBlanc, target banned, will be running around in the mid lane.
Also, the bans, like you say, were under the LeBlanc and on the Cassio, also both of them now in the hands of KING-ZONE. But SKT now, they've got their tried and true combo of Ezreal, Lissandra, and Urgot. They made this look almost nigh unbeatable in the Kesper Cup. In fact, the only games they lost were when they had to play different champions than these particular solo lanes. Will it still prove to be something that they can use, though, in this, the Frostmancy meta?
Got a gusto there. Two people trying to be the SKT cheerleaders because they want to cheer them on to a good start as we're pausing now. That gives us time to look at items.
And
no
also
frost,
keystones.
but no spell thieves just yet.
There's a Klepto.
So there's going to be a spell thieves a bit later.
Yes, there will.
That's crib notes. No Klepto on Rascal. Doesn't mean we won't be seeing it, as we saw already. A victory for Pawn on the Hail of Blades, but no Kleptomancy LeBlanc. Getting a bit of a ping issue, so it seems like just some internet things going to be fixed for this game number 2. I would have preferred if we left open the static image there to start wondering forward about how many different types of gold generation we will get. But note, not the quite same nature to KING-ZONE's comp. We're not seeing a Siege comp. There's no let's have a million shields and an Ezreal going on. In fact, the Ezreal has been taken over by the side of SKT.
And it's going to be the other side of the coin now. So it's going to be KING-ZONE that are trying to go for these hard engages. They've got the Alistair, they've got the combo with the short-range mage and the Cassiopeia. And, of course, Kai'Sa does certainly like a pile-in scenario.
Klepto LeBlanc, if you think about it, then you can use your distortion just to distort in auto attacks. Kind of similar to Lightning Rush on the cannon. That will get you a couple of cheeky autos, but doesn't seem the easiest to proc, given that other abilities are kind of mid-range abilities. Q, for example, you're going to take a Q trade most likely. So doesn't seem like an abuse case when it comes to the Klepto.
I feel like you can certainly get away with it in the Lissandra matchup. Lissandra not going to punish you
but you're
as
never
hard
get two autos, right? It feels almost like you're going to always get the one, or it's going to be W auto or chain auto or Q auto. It's not going to be the double auto kind of full abuse case. So to me, it's kind of a middling choice. But then you think about other LeBlanc keystones, and you're giving up Electrocute, which matters and doesn't matter, given that it's now kind of the more toned-down Thunderlord's approach to it. So kind of an interesting thing to consider. Sandra considered a pseudo-counter, at least a blocker champion to LeBlanc in some ways. I'm more on the LeBlanc side of the matchup than I think a lot of people, where they're just like, it's a counter pick Lissandra. I'm like, it's good. You can't really get the kill because the self-ult is there, but I don't think it's necessarily a huge solution to how strong LeBlanc can be. And I just welcome LeBlanc in the meta atlas because it's nice to have a champion when it's locked in. You say, ooh, a mid laner. Because everyone else is a flex, right?
Yep.
So it's nice to have an honest champion who goes mid, but now is a little bit less honest because apparently can build Klepto.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in theory, everyone can build Klepto.
If you guys are wondering who that is on the SKT side, that's Ryan of the Kakao Friends variety. Kakao is basically WhatsApp of Korea, but has 100% market penetration. Everybody in Korea has Kakao, and that's the most famous of the little kind of mascots that they have there.
Yep, there are a few others, but I don't actually know any of their other names. It's just because Smithy is such a fan of Ryan.
I am a huge fan.
You are the most gigantic Ryan fan. It's almost weird.
We got the confirmation by those frame drops rather than actual ping issues. So just a performance computer issue, not an internet issue, thankfully. And we return to the game. The cheers are already done. The jeers for support items are going to have to be held, at least to the first back.
Yep. And the relic shields, we're not talking about those. The supports, they have fine items. Absolutely great. Really good stuff. It's the other items that we might have some problems with, but not just yet. And Khan, Smithy, has gone for Comet, which is a new one.
I think we've seen it once before, and you see it in solo queue a bit. It's not Unsealed Spellbook.
Yeah.
So it's a bit more laning. Probably seeing Cassio and saying, now, this Serpent hurts because it's, not a melee champion, but Urgot's not that far away from a melee champion, and Cassio does out-trade melee champions and short-range champions pretty extensively. Pawn just poking in, hoping to get an auto attack off on a Klepto proc, and investigating what's going on at the level 1.
Yep, and that ward is going to give SKT full vision of that one as well. Faker was thinking about gathering
Where's the auto Pawn? Oh, we missed it on screen.
Yeah.
Here is Pawn's runes, going Ravenous Hunter and Taste the Blood. This is what we see at almost every domination tree now, just because you get Sustain, or it kind of feels like Spell Vamp, that isn't available elsewhere. So we see it in pretty much every lane matchup, and that's already 2 sacks of gold for Teddy.
Yeah, Teddy's done pretty well when it came to the Klepto RNG. Here on the bottom side.
I have a question. What is the maximum amounts of sacks of gold you can have in one item slot?
I'm not actually sure. Mini stun there on Amada here on the bottom side as Deft is trying to stack up this passive. One more auto will get there.
Oh!
There's the flash in from Clid, and TusiN
Got him!
is already dead.
That is what we call some clean play. Clid back on the Jarvan. He played over in China, but hasn't played in the LCK. And EQ Flash makes the bot lane pay. And nice and early, too.
Nice and early. It wasn't even 2.5 minutes yet. When it comes to level 2 ganks, that's certainly how you get it done.
But that's why I was thinking we would see the return of Jarvan. It actually came really expediently. It was basically locked in right after I mentioned it, because his level 2 is pretty sick.
Yeah.
Not even on the map right now. And let's watch it. You have to flash early. People remember this when they try it. EQ in for the end just before. If you flash any later, you don't get any.
That was about as late as you can flash. And he had to as well, because that was a max range flash.
And
just
if you're
beautiful.
a clean Lee Sin, it turns out clean Jarvan as well.
Yep. I mean, it's a lot easier to be a clean Jarvan, just pointed out, guys. If you're going to practice and you want to be clean at either Lee Sin or Jarvan, certainly practice the Jarvan first. You'll get more reward.
Now, Cuzz can also do pretty disgusting things from level 2 onwards. The move we always saw Marang do when he re-debuted Jungle Jax was Q onto a ward and then flash with the Counter-Strike up. So he's still got so much chase
there's the flash
here.
chain coming in as FLICKR is going to get stunned up. Counter-Strike's going to mean another one, and the auto picks it up for Pawn.
Didn't even need a ward to pull off that one. You can EQ onto a ward flash as the Jax, but the moment the chain went in, LeBlanc going to pick up that kill. Nice stuff there. And both early gankers doing a nice early job as Clid lies in wait.
Yep. Flash is down for Clid and for Pawn, but Cuzz still has his available. So Clid going aggressive, but double buff sitting on Cuzz.
Pawn likely to be going shopping. He got the gold here, so he gets his Frost Fang first of the game on this back. Definitely the back timing you want, so you can start farming that up.
Yep.
Let's watch the replay here. FLICKR's pretty done at this moment because he has no way to get away from Cuzz when he comes from that angle. Perfect angle to enter. The chain guarantees it, otherwise the flash would have been required from Cuzz. They pick up the kill, and Jarvan just not in position that time for the counter game.
Yeah, of course. FLICKR, a little bit unfortunate, was tagged by the chain before the flash, but Pawn had it in the right spot and flashed for it, so that would have hit anyway, given the line that FLICKR took on the flash. So just a really nice gank attempt there from KING-ZONE as Pawn just frustrating FLICKR here, getting out of the way of all these circles of frost.
See if you change your skill order here. Do you consider putting more points in Q so you don't accidentally kill minions? I wonder. With the distortion. Again, we're learning this on the job right here, so...
It's this new thing where you have to avoid last hitting,
yeah,
which is the most opposite way of thinking ever.
It's often hard to not last hit, because you just have AoE on abilities, right? And that's just...
Yeah, I guess.
And then there's even just tendencies where you might just stuff up and last hit because you're so used to it. Turns out 9 years of practice. 10 years soon, remember? 10-year anniversary.
Yeah.
Of League of Legends later this year have certainly warped things.
Well, there's the flash sustain, but Khan's going to miss it. And Rascal is going to do so much damage. Khan was going overly aggressive, and now the EQ comes forward, and Rascal has to flash to get out of the way.
Got baited by Khan's mistake, and then ends up having to trade flashes. The end actually gives SKT a better result than perhaps they might deserve. Going for the kill, Q just misses onto Rascal.
Yeah, that was close. That's 2 disdains that are going to be missed, but getting the flash out of Rascal, certainly great news.
Bit of a consolation prize.
Very soon, yeah.
It almost feels like Rascal felt sorry for his old teammates. I'll just flash as well, mate. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. But he didn't need to move that far forward.
No.
Just Rascal getting a little bit overly excited.
If Clid had missed his EQ, then you go in, right? Because there's nothing to make you pay. But he still had his abilities off cooldown, so it's very peculiar for Rascal to walk that far up and end up having to use his summoner. Lust for a solo kill on his old teammate, I guess, from Rascal.
Yep, but Rascal now has double dank seals, got a sweet little book there as well, so this corrupting potion is going to be keeping him healthy.
But he doesn't have a Frost Fang, so...
True.
Got that to talk about. 700 gold, though, so he didn't have 850 gold on the back. Wonder if he might still build it anyway.
Well, Rascal's having a great time here in this lane. Level 6 gained before Khan means that, yeah. Yogurt's not going to be having a great time as there's the ultimate, but good turnaround from Khan.
That was tricky. Good on both sides there, actually, between Rascal and Khan. Got to be careful. A lot of people have been tilted by Cassiopeia top and pass.
Unfortunately, Miasma not there in time to deny the disdain as well. So, in fact, double value coming out for Khan there.
Back in the mid lane. 19 farms, so there has been some CSing happening in this lane, but largely being avoided by Pawn.
Pawn picked up most of it beforehand as the chain. It's going to activate yet again. We get a mimic to one as well.
Two chains!
And that's the solo kill. Pawn. He's someone that's been able to do it in the past, and he does it again in 2019.
People always remember Pawn versus FLICKR differently. People talk about how it was always Pawn. Other people remind you that it was often FLICKR. This time it's Pawn in the mid lane. 2 chains are enough. And that means suddenly the job was well done when it comes to actually Frostfanging because he gets the extra gold here of the solo kill. Watching the replay comes in. Gets the first chain, and it wasn't the double distortion. It kind of looked weird in terms of the visual, but that chain just straight up kills. And watch the reaction. Acorn's over the moon on the left.
Losing his mind. And you can understand it as well. I mean, this is Pawn that's been so up and down throughout the last few years. Even his last bit of time in China, it was definitely question marks on Pawn as Cuzz turns up topside, and Khan's already taking a lot of damage. The disdain to go forward as Khan, I don't think he's going to be able to get it. The ultimate, I believe, even missed onto Rascal, and KING-ZONE get a free one.
Only one angle the jungle could come through that Khan wouldn't see. That was the one, and so obviously in hindsight looks super bad.
Yeah.
And he went down, but you understand the play he was trying to put out with no flash onto Rascal. Timings don't work out. Baited forward. Nice kill. Goes the way of KING-ZONE, and not the 2-0 anyone saw coming, but increasingly possible now that we've had a solo kill and another advantage go the way of KING-ZONE.
What happens when you get weird micro patches like this is there's the 2 autos from Pawn, gets his Klepto proc and goes back. Oh man, it is just so strange because this is not the result we were expecting here, but it's also just not the style of play that we were expecting to happen today.
And also let's talk about the style of play of why Lissandra works into LeBlanc. It's because there's always timings when she uses distortion to kill minions that you QW or you just Q the minion wave or E, right, and get some trade damage in. How do you actually pull the trigger? When do you actually get time to get trade damage onto LeBlanc when she never has to distort in range if she's not guaranteed to be winning trades? She's not focused on farming at all. It actually warps a matchup that people have traditionally seen as very Lissandra at minimum 50-50, let alone favored.
Yeah. The thing that I'm really scared about, Papa, is the fact that Pawn will be going towards this evolution very, very soon. Has been harassing down FLICKR at every opportunity that he gets is Cuzz. That's a visual bug. He's out of vision at the moment. And Rascal looking to put the screws in. Cuzz has got flash.
Was that miasma that disappeared? Wait, okay, that was a visual bug.
We are visual bugging like a million different
Man,
times. I'm
how
just
can
so
this
confused.
patch be the one with visual bugs? There's 0 CS everywhere, and that's intentional.
I know. Well, Rascal, he's farming. That's not a visual bug. He doesn't have a Frostfang.
The best one I saw was, I think, OPL, where it looked like a Xinjiao
Yeah,
walked
I
into
remember
100
that.
range to watch 2 people hardcore fighting, when in reality he was chilling in the bush.
Yo.
He was just like, ooh, nice fight. I needed to come up close with my magnifying glass.
I guess so. Well, Deft, I don't know why he has 2 longswords. So we'll see what he's deciding to build. Could this be the possible Death Dance option?
Possibility,
yeah,
Atlas,
like
possibility. We're still in. Could also be a Blade of the Ruin King some people are building.
Yeah, that
on this
pickaxe
champ.
is confusing, but yeah, I understand.
A lot of things could be happening here for Deft in the item build, Rage Blade, Orsko coming together, so we will hold our horses on that one. Even if you look at specific players, you always see like 3 different builds in their last 20 games. So.
I know, it's just there's so many different viable options now.
Essence Reaver, some people are doing on the champion as well. Pretty mana hungry if you're trimming waves with the Q. So there's a lot of different ways you can approach, and so many things are open because you have 25% crit and all the crit items. It all adds up as mid lane.
Yeah, Pawn dashing on back as the cleanse is used immediately. That means the Cataclysm's going to be pretty valuable. Double Distort tries to get Pawn out. Gets himself back over the wall again as Marta wants to punish his ex-teammate.
Can Pawn do it again?
Gets over the wall, gets under the turret, and he's fine.
This man cannot be stopped. You remember the big escape he did last time out in week number 3, and now FLICKR has to be on a big evacuation of his own.
Yep, he's having to get underneath the turret, and there's another distortion to get out of the way. The True Shot Barrage. You cannot kill Pawn's LeBlanc.
This man cannot be held down. He will not be accountable. He will escape every time. Pawn is a madman on the LeBlanc, but in a game like this, Pawn is flattering to deceive. All eyes on Pawn. That means, as we know, Deft farming during all this time, and 2 members walking away, just so frustrated. Clid said, ooh, if I hit the Q, I got him. Not when he goes back over the wall.
Nope. And then Marta comes on over, flashes the wall to watch Pawn escape to safety. And then, if you wait, Teddy throws out the ultimate. It's not a lot of vision available for KING-ZONE, but he still has his finger on the distort button, and Pawn, he's just real good at this champion.
And if you're SKT, even with those veterans, you're seething, Atlas. You have to be, right?
Oh,
it's
yeah.
so frustrating that a move like that pays off when you're getting bonus summoners and wasting time from multiple members. You need to shake that off fast, and they definitely have the propensity to do that. But for sure, they're frustrated as Khan.
Yeah, it's going to get chained. That's going to be the Mimic chain coming in as well. Distortion is going to land as there's the stun. Rascal comes on over. Good flash from Khan. Gets him out of the way. now might be FLICKR that's the option, but the chain doesn't land. Pawn will have to back his way out.
So much happening in this game, and very hard to catch up anyone who's joining mid-series. If this is the first game you're watching this night, if you're waking up in NA, sorry, we've got a whole lot of stuff going on in this particular game. A lot of Frostfangs happening. It was Pawn starting with the regular items, getting a solo kill, getting an early kill, and then going into Frostmancy, which means focusing on the harassment. That's why CS numbers are lower than you might expect. It's all intentional. It's all patch 9.3 with no hotfix. Don't try this at home. And speaking of don't try this at home.
Yep, Khan is just going to die, pretty sure. No, he doesn't. He manages to pick up the Rift Herald as well and grabs the kill because the ultimate was there before. It looked like lunacy, but in the end, it was genius.
And another debate, but this time to the side of SKT, because Atlas will get the bot lane turret on Ezreal. At the same time, the meat grinder gets its man. That means you can summon this Rift Herald, and finally KING-ZONE landing on a sword that right now is the benefit of 3,000 gold on SKT.
Yeah, well, that's going to go up because this is a whole bunch of turret plates. So much money going to FLICKR and Clid here in the mid lane. It won't take down the full turret, but that is all the plates bot side and 4 of them in the mid lane. Really nicely done, and I feel like this was exactly how KING-ZONE were feeling in game number 1. They had so many of the plates. They had all the dragons, and now it's SKT doing the same thing.
And a lot of this is us once again circling Kai'Sa, because free lane for the Ezreal and the 2v2. Yeah. Kai'Sa slowly building Essence Reaver. We're getting that confirmation finally. When it comes to first item purchase, 20% CDR, working towards 100 AD. Meanwhile, Ezreal's power farmed with Klepto, as only Ezreal can. No sighting of a Frostfang in that inventory. And that means that suddenly the gold lead is bigger than we might expect after Pawn's heroics. Watching the replay, this was KING-ZONE starting, and it looked like one of those suicide TPs.
Oh,
but
no.
Khan, importantly, doesn't die. The R arms just as Cuzz is mid-air. He's in the meat grinder. The Rift Herald is picked up, and the gold lead extends for SKT. We were hoping for that 3-game series. Maybe we'll be granted it.
And you see that moment at any other time. You teleport down onto a Cassiopeia. She should be able to burn you. Rascal had no mana. He was able to get one Twin Fang after a Q, and then it was all over, so couldn't actually offer anything more. I was just wondering how the heck, in that situation, Khan could survive, but mana bar just wasn't enough to dish out enough damage.
How many times this season have we seen non-mid laners struggle with mana management?
Yeah.
On the Cassiopeia. We so often see, hey, we'll start out and try and burn an objective. Oh, I don't have mana for the turn. It happens so often. It's a good call there, Atlas. Just, it baits you into the thought that Cassio deletes objectives and wins the turn with a consistent damage. No, you have to choose one if you're not getting blue buff. Speaking of blue buff, he actually claimed this one. How hard is the contest here? Draven's going to walk up. Gets it. No.
Unfortunately, you just don't do that much damage unless you're Spirit, who builds AP. Hook not going to land there onto TusiN, but does use the ultimate. That was an odd reaction, thinking that that hook was definitely going to land. It wasn't. True Shot Barrage. Oh, you should have soaked it, TusiN, just to make up for the fact that you used the ultimate. It doesn't. Clid on the top side, they want to take down this outer turret as well as Pawn under the turret, just trying to harass down FLICKR and get himself some more money there as well.
Not the same littering of wards. In fact, SKT controlling the wards, despite more being available to the side of KING-ZONE, means they can run things around. They have the priority in this zone, and Double Mountain means there's no uneven trades, right? The speed is always going to be on SKT's side. The need for speed right now propelling them to this very decent gold lead. Eventually, this should be picked up by the duo of KING-ZONE Cuzz, Cinderhulk, but Trinity forced to follow. A lull in the item purchases, it feels like right now. For KING-ZONE, their item purchases can't match Ezreal and his clean 2 items, and really everything being fairly clean 1-item power spikes on the side of SKT.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I don't know about Essence Reaver on Kai'Sa as a 1-item power spike, but if that last exchange told me anything, Teddy's got a better one because he's already got 2 items.
It's definitely the least oomph for a first item because new Essence Reaver is a bit of crit, a bit of AD, and mana back. That's not actually Stormrazor mini crit or Infinity Edge real crit. It's just a building block, as it often was in the past. So
yeah,
because
of that, it's an item that you want to have to stick around in lane longer, but unfortunately for Deft, I mean, they've lost all of their outer turrets already. It's no longer a laning phase.
Definitely, if you compare the items, it's, man, I'm strong now versus can I come back in a while. So this is the sort of power trough that it doesn't feel like Kai'Sa has had for a long time. Ever since Prey moved away from the first ever Kai'Sa build and went for attack speed first evolve, we saw from there really powerful 1-item, kind of 1.5 item spikes to always guarantee something was spiking early. Right now we're very much in the wait a while phase, and Kais has been losing a lot today, and right now doesn't offer much as SKT in a similar spot to KING-ZONE in game number 1 when it comes to a huge agency lead around the map.
And there was a 3,000 gold lead on Teddy.
Yeah.
On this Ezreal versus the Kai'Sa, so that's what happens when you get basically trashed in lane, and now you can see the aim for SKT is litter the bot side with wards and try and crush down here. Just so much vision available, and that's without Frostfang's Papa Smithy. Not sure how they were able to do it. They've done it, making it look like the map that KING-ZONE created in game number 1.
So right now, it feels like KING-ZONE aren't in a position to truly fight back. It's not white flag. They can still play 3 lanes pretty extensively, and LeBlanc is going to be able to side lane just as happily as the Lissandra, but definitely a lot more tricky this time. I'm happy to see SKT kind of stick the landing after potentially just being tilted off the moon by Pawn's escape earlier, and made some good decisions, and like you say, playing through a monstrous Ezreal who can even double down on being ahead in the mid game by taking a Hex Drinker for some more guarantees of being fine in basically every scenario. So because of that, KING-ZONE now, you make the wrong move, things can go the other way is bot lane.
Yep, Claw pretty good at getting FLICKR out of trouble there, so KING-ZONE unable to actually lock him down for long enough. Does escape. Would have been a great opportunity there for Deft, who does still have the killer instinct available, but couldn't get the tag onto FLICKR, unfortunately, as Rascal not going to get hit by the first one, but if that Mystic Shot had landed, that would have been an ult that would have killed.
Yep, we get to see these Ezreal numbers. Again, NA was seeing some great Ezreal play. Bang had a big one. There was some other great Ezreal. Sneaky had a great Ezreal game on the weekend. Had a lot of time to watch LCS and LEC, so I feel like they're seeing what we were seeing in the past, and maybe we'll see that Ezreal now come in at some point. Clid can solo down slowly onto this Cloud. I've seen some Cinderhulk, Jarvan, just to be a frontliner, but it's back to Warrior, kind of Warrior into Kindle Gem. We'll see where this goes. I don't think it'll be Black Cleaver. I think it'll just be like a Knight's Vow or something to be utility on the next engage. We'll get that confirmation later. Remember that Cuzz is building that expensive Trinity Force, and for now, only has a Phage and a Dagger to show for it.
Yeah, still trying to get in there. I actually really like that he's gone for the Trinity Force, though, as he gets the smite onto that big Raptor, because he is a large portion of the physical damage. Even Deft is going to be doing some of the magic work. So Cuzz wanting to frontline there a little bit with this double AP comp. It gives him another champion that does scale very well with items. And if you're struggling to get global gold and get advantages, having an ability to have some insurance in the late game, as Khan's going to get tagged by Pawn here.
Watch this though. Remember that Khan actually has the benefit of playing against double AP. So he's already building magic resist. There's no need for a Righteous Glory. He's happy to go into Adaptive Helm. And damn does it help him here. If he was against mixed damage champions that could both take him in lane, he'd be stuck between a rock and a hard place trying to itemize. But LeBlanc wants to run away with this game in the side lane and keep proccing gold on short-range champions while having kill threat. The kill threat part isn't there, and that means it's a bit more of a ruse around Pawn than a different game where he actually had solo kill potential on the Urgot.
Well, now SKT are looking for a way to crush down on these inner turrets. At the moment, KING-ZONE have been pretty comfortable, just playing back, playing as defensively as possible to try and weather this storm. Get themselves this Kleptomancy LeBlanc online, get more work done. Pawn, you can see, just chilling in a side lane, has himself the blue buff, and a heck of a lot of CDR, so the distortions will be coming out left, right, and center.
Another bad feels for the Essence Reaver is you still want Rage Blade to double proc the passive. It's so strong with the Plasmids.
Yeah.
Really no synergy at all with the Essence Reaver still, right? You get a bit more mana back, I believe, on the missing mana, but obviously that pales in comparison to some of the old builds that were available there. So the Trough is still there, Atlas, and where will this game be when Deft has 3 items? Will it still be winnable from a KING-ZONE perspective?
Will it still be going?
Exactly. It's a fair point there. Will it be in any way competitive, or like you say, even going when Deft hits the 3-item power spike? So SKT push up some of that vision. Pawn, again, flattering to deceive, doesn't have that much oomph behind his items right now.
No, that's just a Luden's Echo, really, as far as his item completions at the moment. But he can sit in the side lane, get up towards that top side and try and be frustrating as Clid's coming on over. Cuzz not going to go aggressive onto Clid here, who's just going to take this Rift Scuttler for free because the mid lane was occupied by Mata and Teddy. Pawn jumping on over. I always think that when someone's walking in a straight line like that, it's another visual bug. That wasn't. Marta takes the
when the abilities are used, that's when we know it's legit.
Yeah. Or if there's an auto attack.
If you guys aren't aware, if you see a player kind of sauntering into open space for no reason, that's usually where the visual bug. It seems to be coded around expected kind of endpoints of a pathing, for example, not updating. It seems like we're only speculating.
Yep.
Once the abilities come in, that means someone's being realsies. Speaking of realsies, Teddy's real strong and SKT's real far up in the King-Zone jungle.
Oh, they're trying to take down Pawn. This is something that people have tried in the past.
Cleanses back up, so's Flash. Here we go.
Yep, FLICKR takes the claw.
I'll let you decide when to cue Yakety Sax.
Well, I think Yakety Sax almost started and then we cut the video, as FLICKR's going to take a Void
We only
Seeker.
get 30 seconds, remember, otherwise the copyright people come.
Well, Khan's actually in a pretty decent position for a flank here as Pawn moves on over. KT could be in trouble. Marta with the flash box is not exactly going to work out here as TusiN has the ult, but Rascal can't get into this fight. Clid has to flash to get out of the way of the extra damage, though, and the Urgot this time is not able to put them in the grinder. Finally, FLICKR gets the combo, but Marta has to go golden to keep himself alive. Flay comes back in and in his dying breath is able to help himself out, and FLICKR flashing on forward. Deft keeps himself alive for the moment, and Cuzz will be the sacrificial lamb, getting the god of the mid lane, the triple kill.
Ends up being a 3-for-2, a fight on two fronts there. I was glued to the bottom of the screen as Rascal bought so much time for the rest of the members, specifically Deft, to hit one person. That auto almost just killed him straight up.
Oh, and FLICKR's back was stopped there by the Void Seeker as we got a lot of people. I feel like this is in the action movie where the fight's over and they're both on the ground trying to throw a punch as best they can.
You cannot watch this fight fully zoomed out because two things happen at the same time. Watch the bot side, that's where I was watching. As Rascal isolates Clid, that means there's no threat onto Deft. And even before Deft's items are together, he gets to go the magic resist stacking Urgot and just take him down. That was what I was following in the fight. From there, TusiN doesn't get the Q, misses the timing, and while it ends up being a kill, finally they can have Jarvan fight in the front. Cuzz is out of the fight too early and ends up not actually being on time with his counter-strike, thus a slight 3-for-2 advantage, but oh so close between the two squads.
Yeah, and that did get Deft his second item, so Rage Blade is now complete. He's going to be able to throw out a lot of Qs, get a lot of work done. Pawn did a lot of damage in that fight, but it was all about Teddy and FLICKR being able to get that DPS like we know that they can, especially on these champions. The only question mark for SKT has been Khan. Sometimes genius, sometimes madness. He's teetering.
But that's what King-Zone want. Fights on two fronts. If they fight front to back with the item advantage Ezreal has, King-Zone should lose basically every time. So fights like that where they can baby the fact that Deft really wants a third item for this build to come together, mask the kind of awkward scenario King-Zone are in, 4,000 gold down and with some struggles in the 5v5. That is what they want. There's a Void Staff from LeBlanc. She wants to actually put some pain onto Urgot and friends in the 1v1.
Yeah. The thing that I'm looking at here is a bit of a ticking time bomb. On the side of King-Zone, we know that Cassiopeia is going to be disgusting late game. Jax will continue scaling until he has all of the items completed, and Kai'Sa needs no introduction. SKT want to find an opportunity to shut King-Zone out of this Baron pit. With that Rift Scuttler going over to King-Zone, certainly not going to be something they can do now, but 25 minutes, 26 minutes is where they want to start, as somehow Cuzz gets his smite over in time.
They waited for the smite there, smartly done by Cuzz. Okay, let's not talk about the visual bug.
Yep, sorry.
It's a very interesting thing when you talk about where the game is going. It might not matter if a Baron is stolen, but this is in vision. I think this is for a debate. They're looking for a turn here, but of course King-Zone have to walk up. When do they walk up, though?
Yeah, there was a ping out onto it, as of course people know Void Seeker is going to discover it.
Baron at 6,000. Okay, they finally draw a blue trinket there. That was a lot of almost.
Clid very, very close to falling, so he's on low health, may actually have to go back, and he is going to. FLICKR as well. So now SKT lose that priority here in the mid lane. That man advantage no longer there. Corrosive Blast landing onto Rascal.
Mid lane.
Yeah, some Twin Fangs landing. As now the hook is going to go wide. Cuzz makes his way forward. Oh, True Shot Barrage. That could have been a go button here because we know how much damage it does, but not going to land. And man, it feels like we were talking about knife's edges. That's just what this game has turned into at this stage.
It feels 50-50, which never was the case in game number one. What I want you to remember is that Baron dances are usually one team puts down the vision, the other one walks up and then tries to take advantage of back timers where people are going to get refreshment control wards, right? Remember that in that time, King-Zone has 3 more wards than can be bought by SKT because of the Sightstone, now 4 wards, as he actually upgraded to the Eye of the Watcher, did Pawn. So because of that, remember there's going to be times where KING-ZONE can have more resting vision, and that could actually be really important when Baron control might just be the decider for game number 2.
Yep. Trinity Force now completed as Cuzz goes back home. Pawn also hops into the base, but can't quite finish the Zhonya's or whatever item he wants to go for next, involving that Fiendish Codex that he'd been sitting on for quite some time. The Rune's Hurricane almost there for Deft now, if that's what he wants to go towards. Zeal and Dagger giving that one away. Could of course go for something like a Phantom Dancer if he wants to. New and improved with the Lifeline passive, but might want to fit in a Hex Drinker. We will see.
I think you roll
high. Doing a lot of magic damage.
I think you roll higher with Hurricane. It's going to be all about timings here, but you would understand. And there's intelligible reasons for all the different options. So we will wait with bated breath to see where he goes. We're waiting with bated breath to see whether we get a game number 3. SKT have done a lot good in this game. And only really Pawn's hijinks have kind of slowed down their advance. If KING-ZONE can find a way to still be at this break even when Deft has a 3rd item, then things look better. But I don't think there's any true outscale, given that so much of these team fights are going to be purely execution-based, especially when Kai'Sa LeBlanc are the big carries on the side of KING-ZONE.
You can see KING-ZONE actually with a bit of a vision advantage here, as Deft could have had a potential opportunity to go in. Rascal now has his Banshee's Veil completed, so these random True Shot barrages are not going to be cutting down the Snake just this once.
There's just so many wards in this game.
Oh, there are. And those 2 that you can see just there, that's both Pawn. You got in one go. Not your trinket.
Urgot's walking up.
Yeah, actually going to get headbutt pulp there. Voidseeker's going to land, so Clid could get jumped on with the Killer Instinct, but Leap Strike going to get Cuzz out of there and True Shot Barrage. He's not going to land. FLICKR dives on forward, but it's only TusiN that he's able to get on top of, and that's free hitting on the side of Pawn. Flash has to be used from Nada, and that's going to be FLICKR dead, biting off more than he can chew.
He had no backup there. Urgot was nowhere near the fight. There was no one in the front line, but they're trying to turn onto Pawn. He has to flash away defensively there. Teddy smartly sticks around with the control vision. That was just a claw the rest of the team couldn't follow, as Urgot out of position to make that a natural engage.
Yeah, and that's 4 deaths actually for FLICKR, who's been a little bit overexcited. Cuzz able to get the smite on the big Raptor there as well. And let's see this one again. It looked like it could have been the God play from FLICKR.
So the mini stun into the wall by the headbutt is why Clid gets messed up a bit, but they trade health bars to the junglers. It's 50-50 at this point. Consider this play. Mata doesn't really have the ability to further impact this fight. Could flash play, I guess, but it wasn't realistic. They didn't have deep enough vision to actually go for, I think, a flanking play. So Lissandra just kind of dies for free, as KING-ZONE are probably surprised to come away pretty decently in that particular fight. It's mid lane.
Oh, not surprised about that one, as Mata's going to go down, but they trade it for the Kai'Sa. Teddy is huge in this fight as TusiN trapped, and he's going to give away the double kill. Leap Strike gets Cuzz out of there. And Pawn just has to watch on while everything goes wrong.
And we can't translate that one because we don't know how it started. Cassiopeia is in base when this starts. There's no other threat there. And Deft going down should mean a Baron start. No smite can be switched over to Khan, but Teddy does damage. And it's got the smite to clean this one up. Seems like KING-ZONE just giving up on it.
Yep. Teddy just has way too much damage. It's KING-ZONE trading it for a Mountain Drake, but that's Mountain Drake versus 4 dragons.
Yeah.
That SKT have already picked up. They don't give a heck. I was going to use a swear word.
You can say hell, it's fine.
All right. They just don't give a damn. They don't give a damn.
Amundo, if you will.
Yeah, Amundo. They don't give a mundo.
Well,
about that one.
And now the Ezreal with Baron buff. That was pretty disgusting in game number 1.
Yeah.
And now, even the Drake win condition, because problem here is, now they took the Drake and got a Mountain Drake, but unfortunately the enemy has a 35 minutes 30 Elder spawn.
Deft?
Yeah, this was Deft going all in onto Mata, and then Clid walks up. He didn't have vision bot side.
That was just Teddy teleporting in and hitting him with 2 spells.
Bit of a Kai'Sa syndrome there, though, you'd have to say. Yeah. It was really bold. It's so far up the map to make that play when Cassio isn't there to react, and it loses them so much in this game. And again, it's one of those ones, I think LS talks about this a lot. Yeah. You're letting the Elder spawn at 35-30 when the Elder's Bazinga value to SKT. So you don't even feel good about denying anything because you just kind of help them in terms of timers. No map control here for KING-ZONE. Hard to push up and get those Sightstone wards down on that Eye of the Watcher, so we push forward to SKT. They got a lot of siege going on, and the wave clear from KING-ZONE, it's pretty abysmal.
Yeah, and Deft's ability to withstand True Shot barrages is also in that category. He'll go back home, he'll get that health bar back again, but it means he can't help. With this wave clear, and they're going to need as much of it as they can possibly get. Pawn trying to dive on over. Get anything onto Teddy here, but he's got a more Malmodius. He is not bothered. Rascal at least has a Banshee's Veil. That's the dive in. Okay, Clid going to take half of his health bar, but that's not too much to worry about. And the trade is inhibitor turret in the mid lane. SKT very happy to make that one. Trading a health bar from a jungler, certainly worth it, as now Teddy working on this inhibitor, and he just does so much damage. Ezreal, a pretty silly champion as dictated by this particular series.
There's no real force on the side of KING-ZONE around the side lanes with the LeBlanc chains, yes, but now no flash onto TusiN for a flash up a Pulverize. Don't think that Jack's going to be diving in either, so kind of at the whims of the siege the Ezreal's providing. Series is so far going towards the Ezreal team every game.
Yeah.
They push forward, they try to poke them out, but SKT are pretty robust. Even the Ocean Drake can be helpful here. They walk up again, what can they do?
Well, they're going to go for it. I believe that was a flash engage from Rascal, but didn't manage to yell at anyone. He's just causing a ruckus, and no one's there to hear it.
No even Miasma headbutt Pulverize interaction that we were alluding to in the champ select. Felt like just couldn't get in position because TusiN didn't have the flash to really find his spot. So SKT get out like bandits. They took down both inhibitors. They get away. Elder spawns in 2 minutes. How will KING-ZONE even be in position to fight for it? Ended up being rapid fire cannon after all, so a single target build. The BF sword is there. The IE dream is there, but don't know if that dream's going to come to fruition with how far ahead SKT are at 33 minutes.
Yeah, and is it going to be the Stormrazor as the 4th item? Could be an interesting option here for Deft to have a little bit more of that burst damage, but still not entirely sure. I'm wondering where the Stormrazor really fits into a lot of these builds.
I like it on, say, a Caitlyn after IE Double Zeal. I feel like that feels pretty good.
Yeah, I feel like Infinity Edge is probably pretty value here.
I think, yeah. You've already got 50% crit, so might as well get 75% crit and the extra crit damage of the IE. But I think we'll see Stormrazor sometimes item. Oops.
Yeah, and Khan's going to get missed by everything, and then still flash to get himself out of the way. So, you know, value there for Pawn, trading some buttons for an F.
But they're way out of position, so the F might be the loss here for the side of KING-ZONE. Well, moving forward, our SKT, and again, we wonder if there's anything KING-ZONE can do to stop this.
No Baron available as Cuzz trying to do what he can. Banshee's Veil removed as now Deft just getting poked out by Teddy once again. And the turret is going to fall. It felt like it was at about half health when that auto attack landed. True Shot Barrage landing, and Deft almost gets picked up by that.
Even through the healing of the fountain, so much damage coming in, and not the same damage from Pawn anymore. SKT walking up their information. What can KING-ZONE do to stop them? Seems like not much.
No, but Faker takes himself down to about half health. This is the last inhibitor. Teddy wants one more auto, doesn't get it, cancels it after that one as Pawn clears out the minion wave. But SKT, they can just create all the space that they want. Nexus turret number 1 doesn't fall, but it is so close.
No real way for KING-ZONE to cheat through here. The map hacks of game 1 are in the rearview mirror and then some. SKT in a more honest game number 2, trying to brute force, trying to make this happen. Not much left on the map to stop them, and an Elder Drake to go back to if they want it.
Slight flash advantage here available for KING-ZONE, but that's the only real good news story we have. True Shot Barrage picks a gap. KING-ZONE do at least alleviate the pressure in their base, but I have a feeling that's because the Elder Drake's live, and SKT want to just take that and end the game.
Even easier, Atlas, if you want to go for the thing that Coma can't say anything about. Take the Elder, back if you need to buy some items, run to the Baron, and hey, you want to fight against 4-stack Elder while we're doing insane damage to a Baron? Probably answers no. Take the Baron, it's 3 inhibitors down, really nothing that KING-ZONE can do. There's that ambition signature for Clid on his back. SKT just lying in wait for anyone trying to put down wards, maybe even trying to one-rotate LeBlanc if she distorts over to put down a Sightstone ward. Baron into endgame seems likely as here's Teddy, he's mad.
Yep, True Shot Barrage does most of the health bar of TusiN, who still wants more. Teddy diving on forward. Okay, Deft wants this fight. He's got Infinity Edge built up. That is Seraph Shield for Teddy. He's basically got his own karma. He built it himself.
Back to the Baron. Nothing that KING-ZONE can do. I think that's the right call on the Killer Instinct because you just throw it all out there and see if anything will stick, and of course the answer is no. So insanely tanky and a Thresh in his pocket. Baron goes down, and now they walk up, and KING-ZONE say, this doesn't seem very fair. First KING-ZONE, let's remind you of game number 1, where shenanigans ruled insanely. In game number 2, though, SKT have made honest men out of KING-ZONE, and that means we get a best of one for all the marbles.
Exactly. It's going to be coming in game number 3, but this one isn't over just yet. 7,000 gold, the lead for SKT. They've got all the buffs. They've got only a couple of turrets to contend with. But Fat Lady not quite singing just yet, but she's well and truly warmed up.
Fat Lady hasn't met this Ezreal. She starts singing, that's for sure.
Yeah. The inhibitor has.
Double buff still for another minute, guys. You can see in the top right of your screen.
Yep, Clid moving on over, just wants to move that wave in as well. Shot Barrage not quite available again just yet, but they will take down this inhibitor. Next one to respawn will be there on that bottom side, and SKT looks like they don't want to take any chances. They want to be able to usher in these minions as quickly as possible. Deft now doesn't have a lot of wave clear options with the Infinity Edge now built up.
Not the biggest range here, so you can see the last bit here, but is engaged.
Oh yeah, Clid's just going to dive on forward, has himself the combo with Marta's Lantern, which is a cute one. They get the ultimate out of TusiN for their trouble, but that's going to give them a lot of damage onto these structures. The dive on forward as Clid's going to get booped back. Cuzz trying to get work done, but he's probably just going to sacrifice himself. Turrets fall down. TusiN gets to the base. Deft still alive for the moment, but they're just focusing on the Nexus. FLICKR should be able to get that one done, and KING-ZONE just watch as their base falls apart. Looked very similar to our first game, and who's going to be able to do it in game number 3.
But it was so much squarer by the end. It wasn't about having a million wards and no one can answer this siege. Urgot Lissandra works again for SK Telecom T1, and there just wasn't that litany of Frost Fangs and wards to try to take down SKT in this game number 2. So can SKT recreate that when we're back on the same side as game number 1? Remember, final game, SKT will be on blue. KING-ZONE DragonX will be on the red side. Karma Band definitely came up trumps, and now it's all up in the air. Cassiopeia hits the rift, but just like it has been around the world, doesn't do a lot of winning.
And this, I want to go back to something that LS was talking about on Sunday, and it's Koreans read on the meta at the moment and the champions that are strong and things like that. He's got a lot of very strong things to say, did at 9.2, and now obviously will have in 9.3 as well. We'll see him on the weekend. But I feel like there were so many bans that were just sort of thrown out there, like Silas. I mean, why is he being banned? Why is there such a priority on Kai'Sa? Like, once again, we've got some question marks here, and the Kai'Sa priority has not been justified at all so far.
We've been calling for it from the first series, right? You're like, yes, I remember some great Kai'Sa games from Ruler, but it's 9.3, and a lot has changed itemization-wise to throw the validity of that out the window. It's another very low number from the Kai'Sa as well. Ezreal does Ezreal things. Things continue. What does it all mean for the final game? Because, again, it's going to be so interesting to watch the pick and ban. There were moments that worked for KING-ZONE, but how rapidly it fell out of contendership has to be noted.
Yeah, absolutely. But guys, we are going to have a short break, and when we get back, it will be SKT trying to use that momentum to pilot a win on the blue side, and KING-ZONE trying to go back to that red side style. We'll see you then.